Good morning. My name is Jeff Lewis, and I'm the chair of the UCLA Department of Political Science. It's my pleasure to welcome you to the UCLA Symposium on Privacy and Security, a topic of great importance to the future of our nation and the world. President Obama succinctly stated the challenge, saying it will not be possible to have 100% security and 100% privacy. Consequently, he noted, we're going to have to make some choices as a society. The intention of this conference is to allow Californians to hear firsthand from some of the nation's most influential policymakers, allowing our students, faculty, and community to better understand the threats, sacrifices, and complex consequences of the changing world that we will all face in the years ahead. Providing a space for such important discussions is a core responsibility of one of the nation's greatest public universities, and I'm proud to support this mission. Today's program is a collaboration of the UCLA School of Law, the university's Office of Information Technology, and the Department of Political Science. All too often, university programs are siloed within a particular department or school to their detriment and lessening their impact. I'm proud that we've broken down these silos to draw on expertise and interest from a variety of perspectives from across campus. The vision and inspiration for today's event was provided by Cindy Lebo, a lecturer and much more in the Department of Political Science. Cindy conceived of the idea for this symposium as part of an undergraduate seminar that she taught last quarter on the topic of privacy and national security. Cindy is a graduate of the UCLA Political Science Department and also of the UCLA Law School and has long-standing ties to both. Through her tremendous dedication and characteristic resourcefulness, she was able to put together our outstanding program today. Thank you, Cindy. This event was also made possible by our law school dean, Rachel Moran, and I thank her for her support and also the support of the Ann C. Rosenfeld Symposium Fund. Also thanks to Jim Davis, who you'll hear from in a minute, Vice Provost for Information Technology, and to Kent Wada, UCLA's Chief Privacy Officer, for their support and participation. It's also my pleasure to acknowledge the co-sponsorship of the Constitution Project, based in Washington, D.C., and the Brennan Center for Justice at New York University. Each sent outstanding speakers and assisted in the program planning today. Thanks also go to our staff who worked out all of the details of this complicated and evolving program with great grace and efficiency, and we appreciate that. And finally, I want to say a special thanks and welcome to our student volunteers, many of whom are here today. I hope you have a chance to speak with them. They're an impressive group, and I hope can through their conversations that you have with them, prove a sort of counterbalance, a sort of hope for the future against all the challenges that we're going to discuss today. So if our students would just stand and say hello to everybody. Do we have? Yeah. Thank you so much. I believe that you'll find today's presentations informative, provocative, and even eye-opening. And without any further ado, let's begin our program. Jim Davis.
So let me start by saying good morning. That's the answer. So I actually have two objectives here. It'll take just a very, very short period of time, and then we'll get to the panel. But the first objective is I go to a lot of industrial meetings, and they always start off with a safety talk. And one of the things that we have talked about at UCLA is to start off with a privacy talk. And so I'd like to basically just make our privacy notification about this meeting up front so everyone is aware. But we do want to let everyone know that the event is being recorded for later viewing from UCLA and outside folks, and that it is open for tweeting, and the tweeting is hashtag UCLA Privacy Sim. So there is our privacy talk. My other objective is to basically just leave you with some words of passion, if you will, about privacy. From a UCLA perspective as well as a UC perspective, from my perspective, we take a very, very strong position on privacy and security and recognize that there are distinctions between them. This particular day is noteworthy, and I'm looking over here at Cheryl Vaca, who is with UC Office of the President as well as the Regents. Cheryl led an initiative that was 2 years long, at least 2 years. Kent, the Chief Privacy Officer, is heavily involved. But what it is a new policy across UC that UCLA is also adopting about privacy and security. It's been endorsed by the President, and it was just posted and is there for public viewing and is moving into implementation as we speak. So that's actually a very, very big accomplishment that we want to make UCLA as well as everyone here aware of. The other thing is, and I'll kind of dive into my words of passion here. We feel so strongly about privacy and security that we actually changed my office around. As Jeff said, we changed the title. I have this title called Chief Academic Technology Officer. But what we did was basically do a purposeful departure from the traditional CIO role so we could actually deal with this. So Office of Information Technology is actually positioned towards research, education, community partnerships, and public and private partnerships, which I'll come back to in a minute. But along with this came several things, from a UCLA perspective. The first is we do have a UCLA Board of Privacy and Data Protection. It's academic and it's administration. They come together, and when the rubber hits the road, when you actually have to do real trade-offs between the values of privacy, security, and other values on this campus, that's where those things are battled out, if you will, and this campus has a very real set of those. The second thing is that organizationally, UCLA has separated privacy and security. Security used to be in my office as well as privacy, and we took them into two different organizations. That's actually been extremely good because it creates a healthy tension of discussion so that we can balance privacy and security in some very, very interesting ways. So our Chief Privacy Officer, Kent, is in my office. Our Chief Information Security Officer is with administration. The third is we have IT governance. So governance, planning, and policy actually is managed through my office, and we look at the campus overall. And then the last thing is we created a whole new area around community partnerships, public-private partnerships, the university with outside or external groups, and a concept of digital citizenship. Privacy and security rest within those. So with that backdrop, just a couple of words that set the stage, I think, for a lot of discussions today. The first is UCLA is a public institution. UC is a public institution, but we're also a small city. So we have 11,000 students that live on campus. We have faculty that live in campus housing. We have a medical center that services our own population, as well as a lot of outside people. We have an extension that serves 90,000 students all across the multi-county area, as well as international. And then we have research and teaching on this campus, and police department, and everything you might conceive is here. So privacy and security is very, very real for us. So that's actually just the normal stuff, and that needs to be addressed, and that's happening everywhere. By the way, you can multiply this. Cheryl, you can tell me what the multiplier factor is. I take UCLA and multiply by about 15 when I throw in 4 other medical centers, a couple of other national labs with respect to a UC standpoint. The complexity and the richness of these kinds of discussions is actually monstrous, if you will. But this is just the normal stuff, so I'd like to leave you with just a couple of top-of-mind things at UCLA that go beyond those kinds of things. It's quite interesting. Here's what we're dealing with as a campus as we speak. The first is a faculty information system. Lots of campuses have faculty information systems, but ours is going forward as a database system. And so we're drawing upon data from at least 10 other databases, data sources across the campus. Some are public, and as well as outside. Some are public, some are private. How does that data come together for a whole number of purposes, both public and private? This has opened up all kinds of discussions about data governance, privacy, security, ownership, stewardship, and a whole list of other things. All of us, or many of us, are dealing with healthcare data, and what we're dealing with is the new part is the healthcare data research. So that's also public and private. There's all kinds of things around the privacy and security of the patient, but if you look at the data, there's a lot of opportunity with the public nature of that data, but the patient data still remains private, and there's a lot of opportunity on the private side or the proprietary side of that data. We're heavily involved with the manufacturing initiatives that are coming out of the White House and the Obama initiative. And this is all about national infrastructure for sharing capability, but it ultimately comes down to data, which is public and private. From a university standpoint, it's a technology transfer mechanism for a lot of our commercial research as well as that which is private. And you can draw a lot of parallels between companies and patients when you start looking at it from a privacy and security standpoint. Educational analytics, so online teaching. And so educational analytics has become very big. And you can draw a lot of parallels there with healthcare. So a lot of need to protect people, personal information, and so forth, but a lot of value in those analytics in helping the educational programs move forward. And we have educational programs that are cross campus, so we are dealing with this across the campuses overall. And then, of course, you have research and publishing, and these all circle back into all of these. So I just want to kind of give you a very, very quick list of a whole lot of rich issues that are on our table right now, in addition to all of the public university, city sorts of things. And the other thing to mention on this, and I'll turn back to Cheryl, this framework that's come through UC is not a moment too soon. The framework actually contemplates a people-driven, privacy-driven, front-facing part of this. Let's worry about the privacy and the people first. And it basically then says that the information security, the infrastructure security is a means to an end. So when we look across these things, we have autonomy privacy that we need to worry about. We have information privacy. We have to have information security around confidential data. We have to have information security and infrastructure security, and they all kind of come down to people, privacy, and how all those things come together. But the fundamental thing I'd like to leave you with is, from a campus standpoint, we're dealing with at least a four-dimensional problem: privacy, security, open, and call it public and private, open, and confidential. And how do you balance the values of all those against a whole other rich set of values and ethics that we do need to deal with? So this meeting is extremely important from our perspective, our UCLA and UC perspective. I'm very much looking forward to the outcomes of this. I hope this gives you a little bit of the depth of the flavor of what this meeting is going to get into. I'm looking very much forward to it. Thank you very much. And I guess, Kent, it's to you, and we get the panel started. I'm looking forward to it.